Pleasure to be here today with you. During this session, what I would like to do is share what are the major trends in the sports industry, what are the challenges that we are seeing. I will share some examples on things that we are doing to capture those opportunities and how we are leading our future with some partners. And hopefully, at the end, share some ideas on how we can partner together and how we can capture those monetization opportunities in the industry. This is my very first time here in the South Summit, so let me ask you a question. Please raise your hand, those who are investors. Only a few? Okay. Startups, I guess the rest? Startups? Okay, perfect. So who are coming from Latin America? Like 15, 20%? Okay. Rest, Europe? Spain? Very good, thanks. Thanks a lot. And who likes sports? Everyone. Great, so I'm on the right track. The last question is, please raise your hand if you are already making some business with your company, with your startup in the sports industry. Well, 10% more or less, 15% I would say. Great. So we'll have the chance to evangelize you a little bit on where are the opportunities. As Elena was mentioning before, the industry is $1.5 trillion. It's one of the most horizontal industries around the world. So it goes from stadium construction, facility management, health and fitness, clothes and sporting goods, to games, gaming, the gaming industry, which is worth billions and billions of dollars. It represents the sports industry 2% of the total GDP in the world, 2% of the total GDP. It's number 10th in the ranking of the size of the industry, number 10th, and it's the fastest growing industry, one of the fastest around the world. When we zoom in into the consumers on every single industry, what we are seeing is that technologies are shaping and changing the way consumers behave. It's happening all across every single industry. It's happening with smartphones, with tablets, but also with wearables, from smart bands to smartwatches to glasses, and we'll talk about a little bit in a second. But the most important thing that I want to recall here is not the technology, but it's the people. It's the millennials are the digital natives, or what I like to call, the heads down generation. People always looking down, and the way they share content, the way they purchase, everything is changing in every single industry. In the sports industry in particular, one of the good news for everyone is that consumption is growing year on year. As of today, more or less 10 hours are spent per week on consumption, on sports consumption. 1 out of 2 people are using a second screen to consume sports. 1 out of 3 people are using social networks, and this is growing and growing, and faster than we might imagine. While pay-per-view is also growing as an important trend. There are 5 areas that Microsoft is focusing on, which we believe are good opportunities for Microsoft and for the partners and for all the ecosystem, startups included. From fan engagement, how we deal and how we manage with millions of fans that are outside the stadium. The second scenario, which is a smart stadium, the trend is not building bigger and bigger stadiums, but with the same size, how we can provide better experiences, better services, and how we can monetize that with a higher revenue per user or a bigger average per ticket. Then team performance. We're not going to cover this in depth today, but it's how we can avoid injuries, how we can prevent injuries, how we can help the teams perform better. The other scenario is business insight that I will talk about later on. And the fifth one is how we can create a whole ecosystem of partners and organizations that can benefit out of the rights, out of the immense fan base of sports around the world. And that's where it comes, you startups and investors. We have been partnering with many different organizations around the world, with Lotus Formula One, the NFL, Sochi, and many organizations with lots of learnings. And one of them was, what are the challenges, the biggest challenges that we are seeing? First of all, it's in a stadium, you cannot get more than 50,000, 70,000, 80,000 people. And more than 90% of the total revenue is generated in sports, is generated during the match day, mostly around the 90 minutes or the 40 minutes or around the match. And our vision is, hey, we have 7 days in a week, 24 hours. Why don't we create more and better and richer experiences every single day? I will go after that in a second. The second area, the second challenge that we see is that most of the clubs have no clue on who are their fans. They hardly know anything about their fans, millions of fans around the world. And the third challenge is, even though in the transaction systems, ticket sales on the online stores, or even public data that they might have on social networks, which is public, huge amount of data, is hardly transformed into insights. So one of the examples that I want to share on how we are addressing these opportunities is with Real Madrid. This is our CEO, Satya Nadella, with the CEO of Real Madrid. We announced an important partnership at the end of 2014 with the aim to transform and to lead the digital transformation in the industry, to show to show other clubs and sports organizations, federations and leagues how we can bring in the millions of fans that are outside of the stadium, how we can bring them closer and closer. And for some, some presentations where there are certain countries where soccer or football is not that common. I like to use this chart showing, these are, great celebrities: Will Smith, Russell Wilson, who is the hero, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James. So great celebrities, 200 million people are following them on social networks. And I have dated this connecting all the digital assets, whether it's applications, whether it's a website, social networks, the online store, physical assets, everything to the fan, and create richer and better experiences. And for sure, try to monetize that in a freemium model. And talking about a freemium model, the vision is you have at the base 450 million people. 450 million. Sometimes I ask, hey, what percentage is out of base in Spain of that 450 million? I get 20%, 30%. It's less in social networks, less than 3% of the total population. Virtual goods, games, and opportunities that we'll discuss later on with you. Everything is being built, hosted in the cloud, different smartphones, tablets, iOS, Android, Windows phones, so it's a heterogeneous environment. And we have, out of the 3 revenue streams from a club, which is gate revenue, ticket sales. The second one is TV rights, and the third one is sponsors and merchandising. Well, we have defined new innovations for those areas. So the stadium, we transform that into a smarter stadium, better services. For the millions of people outside the stadium, a second screen that we'll talk about, and then the ecosystem, the whole ecosystem of partners. Everything being run on a digital platform, a sports digital platform. So imagine the first scenario. We're inside a stadium. Today in many stadiums you use a ticket, you use paper. But if you go to the airport, you swipe your smartphone and you get access, with your boarding pass, you get access to many different places. You can do with a smartwatch or with a smartband as well. One of the things that you can do as well with the technology that is available today is being guided to your seats and see who are your friends inside the stadium or even outside the stadium. One click away to purchase food and beverage, either being delivered to your seat, or you can go to the express line to get that, or even to the online store. But one of the things that I like most, and I invite you to experience and to feel experiences. Download the Real Madrid application. You will see many of these examples. And one of that I like most is when in the stadium with my daughter, sometimes, she wants to go to the restroom. And I'm with her and I hear the people cheer and shouting, and Cristiano or someone else has scored. So what a pity, never mind. You just take out your smartphone, you just click replay, and here you go. You have the goal from many different angles, from many different cameras, which goes much beyond the traditional TV. The second scenario that I want to talk about is the second screen. Now imagine millions of people around the world accessing to this information, accessing to this rich content every single day of the week, every single day. Without, or going beyond a smartphone or a tablet, you can use smart glasses, you can use virtual reality devices, you can use many other devices. Let me ask you a question. Whom of you have you ever tried virtual reality glasses, cardboards? So it's like 20%. Okay. So let me give you one example. But basically, with technology that exists today, with a smartphone, traditional smartphone, what you can do is, with less than €1, you can purchase a cardboard and create some sort of mask or a cardboard lens where you can click different cameras and be your own producer, be your own director. So if this is not a camera, this is me, moving the smartphone in a 360-degree camera that was put in different places. Like on the pitch here, I can turn right, and I can see, the players. So instead of consumer linear content, I am having interactivity. I can click another camera and see the crowd, but I want to see the pitch, and I turn to the right, and maybe I see someone scoring like you're seeing here, but I'm hearing the people cheering, so I want to see people on the stand shouting and screaming. So these are the examples on where the sports industry is going. It's going beyond television, it's providing additional experiences, more interactive with this type of devices. Now at the high end, there is additional experiences which are called augmented reality. So in virtual reality, what you have is a cardboard and one single virtual world. With augmented reality, you are blending the physical world with the digital world. And maybe you have seen a movie which it's called Minority Report. Have you seen yeah. Okay, you see Tom Cruise moving holograms. So let me show you one example on where we are innovating on this front.
Look around. Look around. Technology is all around us. We use it in every aspect of our lives. It enables us to do amazing things. But what if we could go further? What if we could go beyond the screen? Where your digital world is blended with your real world. Now we can. This is the world with holograms. What will they enable us to do? New ways to visualize our work.
I have an idea for the fuel tank.
New ways to share ideas with each other.
How are things going your end?
I just put the images in OneDrive.
Perfect.
More immersive ways to play. New ways to teach and learn.
So put the new trap in the place of the old one.
Now what?
And tighten here and here.
New ways to collaborate and explore the places we've never been.
Look at this formation. Let's take a closer look.
And new ways to create the things we imagine. Because when you change the way you see the world, you can change the world you see. This is Microsoft HoloLens.
Let me suggest something. Don't show this video to your kids. You know, I've shown this to my 8-year-old daughter, and whenever I get home, she loves Minecraft. She always says, "Daddy, when are we getting HoloLens? Daddy." So don't share this with your kids. But imagine certain scenarios with these type of devices, you know, blending the physical world with the digital world. You know, you can create virtual stadiums out of your living room, right? With one click, you can explode that and get statistics from the players, from the team, you know, your heart rates, different indicators on different screens. You can purchase and have a virtual online store, you know, picking objects or socializing with your friends. So those are a few scenarios that are coming on. For sure, with partners, startups that we can work and we can develop new and new scenarios for different verticals like this one in sports. But you know, having millions and millions of people around the world interacting and socializing with each other, as I was mentioning. Let me share one example here. With the sports digital platform, we have been able to listen and understand a map here with what we call a heat map. The red dots are high intensity, you know, tweets and comments on the web, on social networks, but you can hear on the whole web. The blue dots are high intensity, but are not as high. And what we are showing here is the comments of people and the reaction of people to certain campaigns during a certain period with these social listening tools. And you can see Indonesia, for example. It was surprising on how active they are on social networks about sports and about this brand in particular. So with those tools, what we can do is slice again and say, okay, it's great to understand the number of people, but what about the tone? Those who are speaking positively or who are favorable to our brand and those who are not. And we have been able to map that and also identify influencers to run certain marketing campaigns like amplification or mitigation. So these are a few examples on where we're leading with the sports digital platform. And the third area, which is closely connected to startups and to investors as well, and that's my belief. Again, out of every single fund, interacting through different touch points. You know, it could be a tablet, it could be a smartphone through the application, through the web, social networks. If I purchase online, if I have redeemed a coupon, or if I have tweeted positively or negatively, you know, all that information is being tracked in the sports digital platform. And then, with all that information, what we can do for the club or for the sponsors, new scenarios. We can deliver new scenarios like hyper-targeting, hyper-segmentation. So let me give you one example here. Out of 125 million people that are following a club, we can say, okay, I want to understand all the people whose birthday is in January with certain demographic and geographic and also psychographic or behavioral segmentation. So I open up, you know, a big data visualization tool and say, as you see, I'm typing and saying sum of total fund, 124 million people. Okay, I want to see that by country. And you can see how it's querying at the back end. It's showing me, you know, the different funds. I can see that as bar chart or type as pie chart. So let's go back to the campaign. The campaign was about people whose birthday is in January. So sum of total fund, 124 million people. Great. For January, 10.4 million people. So you see how I'm slicing information. Who are living in France, 285,000 people. Whose gender is male. I can say, okay, whose behavior is early adopters, as you can see, early adopters, and it's slicing once again, and they are between 18 to 40 years old. So I'm typing, and it's recognizing what if I am a product marketing manager, this is heaven. 8,788 people. If I change that for Colombia, for example, it's 30,522 people. What this means is that instead of spamming to 124 million people around the world, you are hyper-targeting and providing the right content or the right promotion for every single fan. Now, to get to the core, this is the third scenario. You know, for startups, there are big opportunities here, like creating, you know, health and fitness opportunities with the devices like Kinect You can create, scenarios where you can train with your idols, with the team. You can create games, hardcore games or social games, from Minecraft to Angry Birds, to many different games, to many different opportunities that could be connected to the digital platform and be monetized with the revenue sharing models for the startups and for the clubs. And for that, we have launched, to foster that ecosystem, we have launched the very first Sports Innovation Center. It's out of Madrid. It's 15 minutes away of Plaza de Toros. It's a public space. If you want to visit, if you want to try one of those virtual reality glasses, it's Calle Goya 90. You can visit. It's up to 7 p.m. It's open. And we have there are different experiences. A Formula One car showing you telemetry and how they are improving their performance. We have the NFL, Real Madrid, many startups here. And my invitation to all of you is to join, to visit the place, and to see if we can leverage that as a business opportunity. As part of the Innovation Center, we're providing up to $200,000 in technology, in training, in coaching, in advisory to set up your startup, to get up to speed on the technology side. And you can see there are some two people, Sonia Marzo and Iris, their emails, if you want to reach them out. And I want to share and to close, with some examples of great innovation that we're getting from different startups from around the world that are in the Innovation Center. First, it's Viewing. It's one of the companies that has built this device. Is a small mini TV, which is solving an issue inside a stadium where you cannot get more than 30% of the total fan base in a stadium connected through a smartphone because of density. With this type of devices, it's using TV technology, bandwidth and radio waves, that enables to streamline that content. Vidibon, a company with virtual reality. Then we have, partners and startups creating new applications with the Microsoft Band. So imagine, virtual scarf where I shake it and I can see people around the world or inside the stadium shaking, and cheering for the team. You can see also Kinect for fitness or training with the players. You can do many stuff. And the last few, out of many innovations that are being built there at the Innovation Center, Productiva, they are creating insoles, plantillas, insoles for high-performance athletes and for amateurs as well. Winmore, real track system, to improve the performance. Thermohuman, with thermography technology, they are predicting and helping you prevent injuries. UniqueMe, with a sample of your saliva, what you can do is understand what are your patterns and what is your DNA propensity to certain ports, your capabilities, strengths and weaknesses. And the last one, out of many, Exobyte, with a 3D printer, they're creating casts, 3D printed casts, that rehabilitates you in 7 weeks instead of 10. It has different sensors. You can control that and electrostimulation that fasten that process. So as to summarize this presentation, first and foremost, again, the sports industry is $1.5 trillion. It's growing. Something that I didn't mention is people around the world are getting, much older, much healthier. You will see that out of the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, purchasing power is growing, and we're taking people out of poverty. The world is growing in terms of purchase, in terms of time, and with time, one of the things that we will have the opportunity to provide is more experiences, leisure, tourism, entertainment, and sports. People will be consuming more and more sports at home, on the go, or wherever. Digital platforms, technology are going to be deployed, are going to be massively deployed by clubs, federations, and leagues. And for sure, there's going to be those opportunities that I mentioned for startups and for those organizations who can connect to this digital platform. And hopefully, if I was successful in this presentation, you will see the sports industry as a business opportunity, and together we might, change the sports world. Thank you so much.